welcome to Day to Day Knits, episode 6. My name is Sara, and I live in Knoxville, Tennessee. That's in the United States. And I live with my husband Joseph and our dog Effie. If you watched the last episode, we know that we have a giveaway this episode. And that is for the April Yarnable box, plus a couple of things more. That shall remain a surprise. And I thought I'd do the giveaway part where I found out who it is on YouTube. So in this bag I have lots of little pieces of paper, each one with a number, and then I have a little list that has a number and the person that has entered the giveaway corresponding to that number. So random number. Number 20. Who is number 20? Nurse Lolly Laura Polly. I think I said that correctly. And I am going to contact you through YouTube, and then we'll go from there. And if for some reason she doesn't answer, I will try to contact someone else after a few weeks. So, oh, and that was because we have surpassed 100 followers, which is a little bit earlier than what I had expected, and that is great. I would like to thank you all for supporting this podcast and commenting and liking and everything like that. It's always nice for one to feel supported. Makes me want to continue doing this, obviously. And so, what am I wearing? I'm wearing the Cozy Classic Raglan by Jessie Maed, and that is a pattern for a sweater that I have turned into a crop t-shirt. There you go. I have used Elsebeth Lavold Silky wool yarn. It's I think like 50% silk, 50% wool. And the colors are Mallard and white. In the pattern, she suggests how to transition from a color to another color in case you want to do that. Of course, you can do it all solid or stripes or whatever. And I used, I think, the way that she says to do it. And I started halfway before separating for the sleeves. I did run out of the white yarn, so my transition in the arms is just a little bit shorter than in the body. And then I finished with a few more rows of the blue and then the ribbing. For this I used US 3 for all the ribbing and US 5 for the rest. I really like making this pattern. It is fairly easy. I had never done the cast on method that she suggests, and I tried it for the first time, and I just blindly kept following the instructions because I just could not picture what it was going to end up being like. I thought that at some point I'd have to like knit two things together, but I didn't. It worked out and I really liked it. I think I might do that in the future again with another pattern. We'll see. And just overall, the yarn is fantastic. It is very stretchy. It is a little bit warm, but not like overwhelmingly. Today in Celsius, it is 20 degrees maximum, and I am very comfortable. Tomorrow is going to be way hotter. So So let's see, 20 in Fahrenheit must be somewhere around 70. Somewhere around that. Temperature dropped this weekend, but it's going to be super hot tomorrow, so it will be pull time. Alright, so I think that's all I have to say about this pattern. I started 2 months ago. It went well. I don't remember having to frog anything. There was a new way for me to do the increases here that I had not done before. I liked it. I think it looks very neat. See? I don't think it was just a make one. It was something else that I cannot recall right now. So that's what I'm wearing. One of my FOs that I finished, I think, right after 2 weeks, the episode from 2 weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Should have been a little bit earlier, but just I had to postpone it for a bunch of different reasons. Anyway, and a few days ago, I think close to a week ago, I finished his vest. It is a pattern by Churchmouse yarns and tees, and it is a vest that is designed for men. It is on the longer side, meaning, well, if you look at pictures online, you'll see what I mean, but it's not as short as some men wear them. It's a little bit longer in the body. Well, the vest only covers the body, but I mean, you know what I mean. It's not like necessarily extra long here, maybe not a whole lot extra long in the armholes, just the other part that covers the belly. It's a little bit on the longer side. And that is why that, and just overall, I did a smaller size. I'm not a very short person. I'm not a very tall person either. I'm like somewhere in between. But you can compare this to me. It is fairly big, even though my swatch is correct and my and I did the smallest size. So I'm going to have to shrink it a little bit. I'd never done a vest, so I did not want to alter the pattern. I think I swallowed the fiber. But as I was saying, the yarn is a tweed yarn. It's by Knit Pigs. It is called, I think, City Tweed DK, and the color is Toad, which is a dark dry moss green with lots of speckles because it is a tweed. It is not 100% wool. Can't remember exactly what it is right now, and I don't know. Oh, let's see. I've said this before, I think maybe 3 episodes ago, but I'll say it anyway. 55% merino wool, 25% superfine alpaca, and 20% Donegal tweed, which I think is just, you know, man-made type of fiber. And that's here. That's this one, City Tweed, DK, Toad. Each ball of yarn, because it already comes like all caked up, I guess, is 123 yards, and that's 50 grams. So I had to buy a bunch of them, and I played yarn chicken, and I sort of won, but maybe you can see, oh, I guess there's not much difference here now, but this one is a little bit stretchier than this one, because I was just trying to win at yarn chicken and not have to buy another ball just to be able to bind off. But I made it, and they're similar sizes. It's just that one is slightly more stretchier than the other one. I have not blocked this yet, so it might grow a little bit more. We'll see. I did not have time to block it. And after that, we'll see how much it grows, and then I'm going to put it in the dryer at some point and try to just shrink it just a little bit. It doesn't need to be a whole lot, but it needs to be a little bit bigger, because if there was an extra small size, that's what I would have knitted, not this small. So that's that info. And then another one that I finished minutes ago, which means that I did my Kitchener stitch for the toes, but I still have to weave in my ends. But this is a pattern for vanilla socks. Still have my markers on, still have not moved that. It has not been blocked. I literally just put this in here to show them in a way that they wouldn't look terribly messy. But as you can see, it has a little bit of color work. If it was blocked, it would look much neater than it does. And I will block it. I just did not have time because I was just trying to finish this in time to get them off my needles, because I need to cast on something else. And so, vanilla socks pattern by the Crazy Sock Lady. The yarn is online Supersocke 4-plier. I think it's in German, so I'm gonna call it Vierfach Worker Socks 2, as in like I, that's how they write 2. In the gray and blue colors. They don't have colorway names, so they're just numbers. And check out the difference in my gauge. Can you tell that this one is a whole lot bigger in the foot area than this one? That is because even though I was using the same needle and the number of stitches is the same, I was feeling very relaxed doing this. And I was trying to rush through this, and when I rushed, I did my stitches more tighter. And so I put a bunch of extra fabric here. It is too big. This one is just perfect, even though they have the exact same amount of stitches. It has slightly more fabric than the blocker that I'm wearing for my socks, but that's just because this is a size bigger than the blocker. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna put this through my normal process for blocking, which is cold water with the soak, and then leave it out to dry on this guy. And for this one, I'm thinking of trying hot water, because otherwise I'd have to re-knit the whole foot, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just gonna try to shrink my stitches. We'll see if it works. I hope it does, because I don't have more yarn to redo work if I have to, and I don't want to pull my yarn off, because I only realized that this was big when I finished it. So we shall see. But they are very comfortable. They're not super soft. They're slightly on the more rustic side, but they're not scratchy, in my opinion. Like on my feet. If I do this it's gonna feel slightly scratchier, not itchy, but scratchier than, say, merino or superwash merino. And I can't remember what this yarn is, and it's not in that notebook, it's in another notebook, I think. So I cannot tell you right now. However, if you go to Ravelry, there will be a link below to my project page. It will say there. It's still, the project page doesn't have any photos as of yet, as I'm talking to you right now, because, well, I want to put them once it's blocked and it looks neater. And also in the project page, you will find the 4-row repeat that I used to make this color work. It's very, very easy. If you're just starting color work and you have done vanilla socks before, because if you've done vanilla socks before, you know what to expect. You will not be confused by a gusset and a heel turn, even though the color work is before, so I guess you could give it a go. This is a really, really good way of giving it a go, because when you do color work, if sometimes you may think that, oh, if it's only a little bit of color work here and 10 stitches after that, a little bit of color work there, you're going to find out, maybe the hard way, that you need to catch your strand. The strand is the part that is here, the floats. That's what I meant, to catch the floats. Oops, there you go. The floats are going to be the horizontal parts. I'm gonna pull one. See? That appear when you're not working that yarn. And you don't want to get very long floats, so you should catch them, like, if you're starting to have, say, five stitches between your color work, you should start thinking of catching that float, so that you don't have let's see. Well, one useful reason is because you don't want to, like, say, put your foot or your hand and catch them on your, like, your nails and mess up the whole sock or glove or sweater. And then another thing is just that that part of the fabric that you're creating will not be as stretchy, so you might get a bunch of loose fabric of the stitches that you're working in your main color, and in your contrast color you will get, it will be too tight, so you have loose, like, floaty, no, just loose fabric. And then, say, for a hat, this has happened to me on a hat, you try to put the hat on and you can see that the fabric gives, but because of those lines that have not been worked, it's not going to fit through your head, because you're just pulling on a piece of string or strand too tightly. Anyway, this pattern prevents that, because you use it like every 3 rows or so. See, and it's very simple. It's a very, very simple repeat. I highly recommend it. So if you want to give it a go, just go to my project page and go to my vanilla socks. That right now I have a picture. Maybe by the time you see this, they will have a picture, and then you can see what is the 4-row repeat that I'm using. So I guess that's it for FOs. Then I have my Sorrel, which, if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen a picture of it. And if you are in my local knitting group on Facebook, when I say local, I mean, you know, people that are in it are people that reside or have resided in this area and decide to join it. So you might have seen pictures of it. If not, ta-da! I would put it on, but it is a little bit warm, and also I've barely split for the sleeve, so I don't want to, like, I don't know, pull something. But let me tell you what I did wrong with this pattern. Happens to me all the time. There's always here and there, not always, but you know, sometimes there's something wrong. So I swatched for this, but my gauge has changed, and I did not realize that until I have finished the first chart. There are 3 charts. Depending on your size, you might not need to knit all 3 charts. I only need to knit the first chart and the third chart. Now, once I finish the third chart, I should have 7 inches. I had, at the end of the first chart and not the third chart, I had 7.5 inches. So then I immediately started doing these short rows that you see here for the chest. They're done for the chest instead of, usually they're done right at the back part of the base of the neck. But here in this pattern, they're for the chest. Anyway, I did that. I work all my short rows, and I'm like, wait, weren't there 3 charts? It doesn't make any sense for me to do the chart now when I have a bunch of blank space with short rows, right? Right. Because I missed that part, because I immediately skipped the part that asked me for the size, and really, either I would have pulled out a bunch of this, or I would have pulled it out, or I would have to do what I did, I think. I don't see a third option. I did not want to pull all my yarn back, because that was a lot of work. And why? Because they asked me for a size to split my sleeves. You see, I split them, imagine I split them right here, which is what I'm doing more or less. My body part separation is actually a little bit above. But say I had then one more chart and added 1 more inch. And instead of splitting for my sleeves here, I want to split for my sleeves here. And that would just look like a bunch of, I don't know, maybe epoxy mess that was not made for my size. Also, I am making the right size for myself. That was not a problem. So, what did I do? I did my first chart. I did the short rows for my chest, and then for the back and the arms, after splitting for the sleeves, I slightly altered chart 3 so that it would work, and I worked chart 3 from rows 7 on. I think I didn't do rows 1, 2, and 3. I did rows 5, 6, and 7, I think. And I changed all of those, how to do it. I wrote it all in my notes. So in the off chance that this very particular thing happens to you too, you can check my notes and see how I worked everything out, and hopefully it will all be correct. So, I don't think I've said this time, but the pattern is Sorrel by Wool and Pine, whose page on Instagram has been temporarily blocked. Hopefully they'll be back soon. And I'm doing this as a knit along for the Make Good podcast, which is an audio podcast. And the yarn is mostly Mondim. Mondim is a sock type yarn, as in it is fingering, it is not superwash, and it does not have any nylon or plastics in it. And that is this dark pink and speckled pink that you see here. With that, I'm also using Mohair. And my Mohair is Rosários for Aurora. And it is a very light, I can show you all the colors. I had the notebook just in my hand a minute ago. There it is. Okay. So I'll show you the Mondim first. Okay. These are the ones that I have used so far. These are the ones I'm going to be using next. And this here is the first mohair that I used. The other mohairs are going to be Katia or Concept or Katia 50 Shades Mohair Concept, something like that. I'm going to write that down for you. And I'm going to use that in white and in a really bright canary yellow. I think I have yellow here and white. Okay, that's what they look like. They come in these little tubes. And they're a little bit messy at the ends because I've been keeping them in the bag, not in the box. And the bag has been carried several places. I don't know why. I guess, well, I just carry stuff inside of bags. And then I put those bags inside of other bigger bags. And at this moment, all the yarn for this sweater is in a very big bag. And for this, I started with a needle 3 for the ribbing. And then a needle 7 because that's what my gauge was at first. I guess I must have been really stressed back then when I did my swatch because I was knitting too tightly, which is why my swatch was working then. And then I changed to needle 5. Also, this could also have been because I did not swatch in the round, but it could also be because on my swatch I just did knit stitches and not the yoke pattern. So I don't know, could have been any of those reasons, but since what happened with my socks was the change of the pressure that I put onto my knitting and how much I pull or am relaxed with the yarn, that's what I think mainly happened with this sweater. These dips are not very hard to do. They're explained in the pattern. I thought that the explanation was a little bit confusing. So I then looked for a video online and I think that they suggest a video. It is very pretty. I really, really like it. The yarn is really warm. And that leads me to something else, which is I bought my yarn. I bought more Mondim yarn that I will show you in just a few minutes because I have one stuff attached to this. Okay, one more project to talk about, and this you've seen well, every episode so far since I decided to start this, but this is going to be a blanket. I'm using all the yarn that I still have leftovers from projects, and I'm knitting it chronologically. Like if I did my first project was a pair of socks that was done with Madeline Touch yarn. That is my first square, and everything else is in chronological order except for my second square. That is just in the wrong place, and that's what I'm doing. So right now, well, really ever since we last talked, I think I've done this dark blue and this dark gray, I think. Can't remember. these are this is the same yarn that I used for those socks, and I've used that for a different pair of socks that I did for Christmas as a present. So really, 2 different colors were enough for 2 different projects. Plus, I still have this much from the blue and this much. Wait, I think I started with 2 blues. So really, I have almost full skein of this blue, I think, and only this much of the gray left. And this is a beautiful, mostly cashmere gray that I used to make a hat that turned out to be too small for the person that I was knitting it for. So it went for my mother-in-law instead. And this one was the outside part. So the cashmere is on the inside, so when it touches the person's head, it would be very soft. And then this one was on the outside. And right now, I'm using this beautiful bottle green mossy color that is speckled for, it is a tweed. And this is gold. Let's see, this is the same yarn, just a different color. Isager Irish Tweed. This color is wine. And this color, I think, is called bottle green. It has very pretty speckles in purple and I guess a wine color and a red color. It's very nice. So for this project, which is called The Coziest Memory by Kemper, Wray, I'm just using my stash yarn so I can go through it because I have lots of it. Oops, that was supposed to be knitted together. Can't get distracted. And it's just a bunch of squares, although some of them get stretched when I let it hang like that. And it's just, well, right now it's a row of squares. I'm gonna try and make it as big as my bed, so it's gonna keep on going a little bit longer till I do a second row. So start with the first row, then you go back to your beginning, and then you do a whole second row. And then I have a bunch of loose ends to tie. So we'll see how that works. And let me do one more stitch here. That slips. There you go. All right. So I did buy some new yarn, and with it comes some news. I am working on a few designs, and they're going to be for, at least at the beginning, for a few accessories that are going to be either 1 or 2 skein projects. And I started with a purchase of 4 Mondim. This you can get at the website Rosários Mohair. Because that's the brand that makes these, it's also a store. And they'll ship them worldwide. Or you can just Google this, the yarn Mondim, and see what stores pop up on your Google search that will sell them and ship them to you. So one of the projects that will be a 2 skein project will have this beautiful set of a white that is really a creamy white. You can look at the tag and see that the white yarn has a yellowish tint to it. And then this, which is like a blue petroleum type color. Now I think that these, this is called 100. They also give numbers to this. And this one is 301. I hope you can tell how rich this color is. It is not completely solid. It has different shades of blue. So that's for one project. It's going to be a color work project. I'm really excited about it. And I guess I'll tell more about it once I knit test knitters for this. This one is going to be for another project that I also, it's something that I already have in mind. And it's this beautiful, beautiful green. I just love these greens that are slightly on the dry side, but I don't know, such a classic color. Looks good on everyone. And so that's for a different project. It will be a one skein project. And then this one doesn't have any project in mind. I just think it is gorgeous. Because look at that pop of yellow. It is so beautiful. I don't know what to use it for. I have to think about it. But I'm excited. This one is called 107. The green is called 306. And this yarn is rustic, yet not very scratchy. It is just 100% wool. That's it. It's not treated. And they don't do in Portugal this sheep thing that they do, that people say they do it because of flies and I guess what flies do to sheep. I can't remember the words exactly right now, but I guess that they remove the hair permanently or close to permanently to these sheep, and because the flies get in there and like put larva eggs and such, something like that. I can't remember. But in Portugal they don't do that, so that's important to know if that's something you take into account when buying your wool. And all of the yarn for Mondim comes from Portugal, which is another reason why I buy this. I want to support my country of origin, and it's not a very big country. I mean, they do mostly tourism, a little bit of exports, but it's not like Germany that has like this huge automobile industry that makes lots of money, or it's not like the US or Norway that have oil to explore. And really, I wouldn't want Portugal to explore any oil. And so we have to support the small businesses of the places that we care about. And that's what I'm doing, buying these. And I highly recommend them. They're stretchy without having the nylon. They're soft, they don't split. I've only used this yarn from their stores so far, that and Rosários, and I really like them both. Rosários it's the Mohair, but I don't have enough for it to really show on the screen, but it is really shiny because of the silk. Anyway, I think that's it for things that I have right now with me, but I could tell you a little bit more while I try to do my square, because today is Sunday and I try to do one square every Sunday to keep up with my growing stash. And well, first you can see that I have cut my hair, so that's some news. I am giving away the rest of it to a place that does wigs for children or people that are sick and such, and that need or want wigs. And let's see what else. There's that. The fact that I'm venturing into design. I've bought a few books and notebooks to help me, keep that up. I'm starting 2 new pairs of socks for tomorrow, actually. because tomorrow is the beginning of Supersocke camp. Very exciting stuff. You know what? I just spotted a mistake because I just kept on knitting and tucking at the same time when I should have decreased. So now I'm about to fix that. I just undid 2 stitches from my row below. I'm doing that right now. Then let's see, it was, I have to think if it was a knit 2 together or a slip knit. And now I'm about to purl those stitches because I'm doing them from the opposite side of the yarn. I'm doing them from the wrong side of the yarn. Boom. Alright, 1, and then I have to fix the other side too. The stitch that was after that stitch. And I'm about to purl that as well. It's important to pay attention to what you do. And that is a lesson that I have learned and keep on learning because I keep on forgetting. Anyway, oh, and there was one more thing. So one of you all has commented that she'd like to see smaller episodes and less far apart. So I might try to do that. This one is already going to be smaller than most of them, just under an hour, and I'm going to try in the future to try and make them at the maximum around 45 minutes. Because personally, I don't really love small episodes, because when I knit for 20 minutes, maybe that will just be a row for me, depending on the project. And I want to put down my knitting and then changing to something else on my TV or computer or iPad or phone. I prefer for them to be a little bit over an hour, half an hour, but not necessarily over an hour, which is what mine have been. And so I think I'm gonna give that a try. However, it takes me a full weekend to edit my videos, so I might not be able to do them every 2 weeks, like she said that she'd like to see. But I don't know, we shall see how that goes. And yeah, I hope you have fun. And that if you're watching this on Memorial Day weekend, then have a good one. If not, have a good week, good weekend, good month of June. I might see you before the month is over. Well, you might see me, I guess. And yeah, have fun. And now do enjoy some winding yarn videos for winding the yarn that I did earlier. And yeah, I had something else to say. Oh, that's right. Okay, I'll be super quick, promise. There is this knit along that I'm doing that I've told you before, but I'll tell you once again as a reminder, I guess, for some of you. For some that are new, just, you know, something for you to know. I'm doing a knit along for the whole year until the end of December, and then at the end of the knit along, the winner will get a little bundle of knitting type things, and I guess crocheting too. I guess those things could work for crocheting, at least some of them. And it is to enter this knit along, you have to knit one of the patterns that I talk about here in the podcast in any episode you pick, and then you go to the Ravelry group, whose information will be below, and you just post a picture of your finished object that you started and finished this year that was mentioned in one of the podcast episodes. Yeah, so give that a try. We have already 2 people that have entered, and well, if no one else does, it's a 50-50% chance for them to win, unless one of them decides to add a few more things to that list. Anyway, now I am over, just under an hour, perfection, and yeah, I'll see you soon. No, you'll see me soon. Bye bye.